I presented this question in a video that I made once before, asking the people in this European country that I live in how they in fact knew or could recognize that I was American before meeting me and before I spoke. Out of the many interesting answers and comments that I got in that video, one of the most interesting to me was someone saying that they could spot that I was American by the way I turned my head a lot and looked around while I walked, like I'm paranoid.
Now in this video, I'm not trying to trigger anybody by disregarding the severity of people who suffer from schizophrenia by using the word paranoid, but more or less just trying to say people who are a little bit over alert. Yeah, let's go with that.
And if I'm being real with myself, the way I walk or the things I do while I'm walking, I never really put much attention on, so I had to go look. I went back to the video and I watched it, and I wanted to see what that person saw. And yes, I did see a little bit of something different than the local people here. I'll show a clip here just so you can be the judge.
Also, here's a 1-minute clip of another video I made that kind of represents this over alertness. See how many times you can spot me looking around. Also, pay attention to the things I say.
This path that I'm coming off of, I just found after living in this village for, I thought a car was coming, for almost a year now. I've never come this way because it just looked dark and closed off. But it looks pretty dark all the time. And it's not something that, my mind tells me I should be exploring coming from living in the States. At the moment, I'm underneath an overpass. People do come through here and do stuff, I guess. And here comes the train now, so let me get up out of the way. In a second, you'll see the train going right behind me. This is the train I usually ride. The point I'm making is, I would have never thought to be coming this way because with my stateside state of mind, so to speak, it tells me that it's not something you should be exploring. Stay away from it. How they in fact knew or could recognize that I was American before meeting me and before I spoke. Now, I fully expected at least one person in that comment section to be like, well, because you're a black guy. But let's be real here. Is that really an accurate depiction nowadays? You can find all skin shades and tones in any country, am I right? So just making assumptions based on skin tone wouldn't be accurate. There's plenty of people in this country that look just like me, from my skin tone to my features. So we can't go off of that.
And so while making this video, it seemed to me that the line between being paranoid and being precautious became a little blurred. So back in the more urban areas that I grew up in, most of the time for us, we just kept our curtains closed. Not that we had an expectation of anything, but more to just keep incognito and to not give anybody any ideas. The same with securing doors and windows. Back where I grew up and where I came from, you needed to make sure you always secured your doors and windows. And in most cases, it was overboard, 3-4 locks on a door, 2 to 3 locks on a window. Here, most people just don't really worry about securing their doors as much. I'm sure they do it, they're just not as worried about it. And I know no one that uses a house alarm, but these things seem to be just about as American as baseball. I would say that even certain sounds could be triggering for certain people. Loud crashes, bizarre bangs and booms, very close voices just outside of where you live. All of these things can be triggering for someone who's just used to those things meaning something else. And so I was thinking that maybe instead of paranoia, it could just be a well-developed sense of caution.
And I know a lot of y'all are going to cringe at this, but in the beginning times when I first moved into this place, the creaks and the pops and the things like that about this place, the shifting of the foundation and things like that, I used to actually think that there were other people in the house. Just hearing those noises, like I never even have a personal experience of hearing noises like that and it being something dangerous or questionable, but just hearing them was strange to me. It wasn't enough to freak me out to the point where I was like getting up out of bed and things and seeing what they were or anything like that. My mind is mature enough to know that it's either something crawling on the roof, which it typically was. We have like a stray ferret walking around the village at night, or it's like
just the foundation is shifting, because most of the upper part of this place is made of a lot of wood. One of the examples I can give personally of being aware of surroundings is sometimes when I hear sirens out. I could be in the middle of a vlog or reading something, and if I hear the sirens, I just stop and look for whatever reason. I know a lot of people probably do that, but it feels a little bit different now that people see me as paranoid, and it kind of looks like I don't want y'all to get me wrong, because in most aspects of my life, I really don't have this issue. And I did kind of go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I started looking at some of my other vlogs just to see if I can find the same thing, if I can spot the same thing, if I did it often. That comment and the rabbit hole that I went down also made me want to see if it was something that was typical with other Americans. So I started watching other Americans while I was out. Surprisingly, I didn't see that much of it. Most people are out with other people, so their attention is primarily focused on the people that they're with in their group. But I did happen to see it with more Americans than I did with the locals. If I had to make guesses on this, then I would guess that it's due to Americans being brought up to always be aware of their surroundings, whereas here I've learned that when it comes to the surroundings, most of the locals just really don't give a crap. They really don't give a crap because most of them, they just did not grow up being indoctrinated into a fearful type of society or environment, whether directly or indirectly. They never had it. Because just imagine, just for a second, those of you who did not grow up in that environment, imagine just for a second that every sound you heard that's similar to a firearm shot or a firearm sound being actually that, a firearm sound. Or every scream coming from down the street is coming from a legit place of something terrible happening. It would be the indirect indoctrination that I'm talking about, because you got no control over it, but you definitely get used to that being a thing and being real, and it sort of sticks. It sticks in your mind. What else is there to say about it? And so after years and years of that, from childhood to growing up, one can't help but think that that's just the way things are. But don't you dare get it twisted, because there are places all around the world that have these type of negative stigmas attached to them. There's even places here in Europe where you're forewarned ahead of time to have a real eye on pickpockets, because that's a thing. Even in the UK, there's places that you're forewarned of avoiding, or things that you should maybe not do, places you maybe should not go and avoid, because you don't want to stumble upon the wrong place or the wrong person and maybe get a hole put in you by a shank. You don't want to get shanked, just like you don't want to get shot. It just so happens that for the people that live in these areas, it's ingrained into them early and a lot, so they get used to that kind of lifestyle and living that way. Now, I know you're watching my sketch and you see the title of the video, and I'm making a video at all. Me making a video at all about this makes you think that I must really have some terrible triggers, but I really don't. I'm just kind of overplaying it to make the point of the video. And so, having said that, the whole point of the video with the question, am I a paranoid American? The answer to it is no, I'm not paranoid. But do I have some kind of behaviors that still stem from my childhood and the way I grew up and the area I grew up in? Possibly. I'm not really worried about anything here, but there just might be some things that I won't be able to shake or change, and I'm not consciously trying to change about me, that will just be there. They'll just be there, and I'm just gonna have to live with them. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, if I hear strange noises or something like that, giving a quick glance to see what it was and checking it out. I'm all right with that. That's not something I really feel like needs to change about me. I can keep that. It doesn't stress me out. But it was just really interesting to see a comment like that underneath that video, and I just felt like I needed to address it. So y'all can be the judge. Y'all think I'm paranoid?